A Stone Age human sleeps outside at -5 degrees, wearing almost nothing, and sleeps fine. You set the thermostat to 68 and still complain about being cold under a blanket. There's no special genetic difference here. They didn't evolve fur or some superhuman metabolism. It's something much simpler, and honestly more annoying, because it means you broke this ability yourself. It's called adaptive thermogenesis, and it's basically your body adjusting how much heat it produces based on how often it's actually exposed to cold. Let's actually pull this apart, because the mechanism is more interesting than the headline alone suggests. There's a type of fat called brown adipose tissue, completely different from the regular fat under your skin. White fat stores energy for later. Brown fat burns energy directly to generate heat. It's basically a built-in space heater made of tissue, and it works by activating a protein that lets mitochondria burn fuel without producing usable energy, releasing that energy as pure heat instead. Every human is born with a decent amount of it. Babies are covered in brown fat because newborns can't shiver effectively yet, so they need another way to stay warm. What happens after infancy is where it gets genuinely interesting, and where the popular assumption about this starts to fall apart. Researchers studying modern cold-adapted populations have found something remarkably consistent. Studies using PET CT scans, originally developed for cancer imaging, discovered that brown fat activity lights up dramatically in people regularly exposed to cold, and stays essentially dormant in people who aren't. Dutch researchers running controlled cold exposure trials found that participants who spent just 10 days being mildly cold for 2 hours daily showed measurably increased brown fat activity and improved cold tolerance by the end of the trial. 10 days, not years, not generations, not some genetic inheritance passed down from hardy ancestors. 10 days of actual exposure. This means the entire framing of ancient humans as biologically tougher than us is slightly wrong. They weren't a different, hardier version of the human body. They were the same body, running the same adaptive system, just constantly receiving the signal that heat production mattered. Now, let's bring up something that makes this considerably more relevant to your actual daily life than it might first appear. What happens at the opposite extreme? Because it reveals the same mechanism working in reverse. Populations with long traditions of sauna use, or regular cold water immersion, show a similar pattern of measurably enhanced thermal regulation, just triggered by exposure rather than genetics. Finnish researchers studying habitual sauna users found improved cardiovascular stress responses and more efficient heat shock protein activity compared to people without regular heat exposure. The body doesn't care which direction the challenge comes from. Cold or heat, mild but repeated physiological stress teaches the system to respond more efficiently. Comfort, consistently applied, teaches it the opposite. Here's the part that should genuinely annoy you if you live in a climate-controlled environment year-round. Cold exposure signals your body that heat production matters. Constant warmth signals your body that it doesn't. Your body listens. It always listens. It just doesn't care whether the signal is helping you or quietly making you weaker over time. Ancient humans weren't warriors against the cold through sheer willpower or superior genetics. Their bodies were constantly getting the signal. Cold nights, cold mornings, no thermostat, no heated car, no heated office, and constantly responding by keeping that internal heater running and ready, because the environment never gave the system a reason to power down. You get the opposite signal almost every hour of every day. Heated house, heated car, heated office. The moment you feel even slightly cold, you fix it immediately, before your body has any reason to adapt. So it doesn't adapt. It just complains louder every year, because from its perspective, it's never actually needed to build that capacity in the first place. There's a broader pattern worth sitting with here, because it connects to something researchers have found across multiple systems in the human body, not just temperature regulation. This is sometimes discussed alongside the idea of the mismatch hypothesis in evolutionary medicine, the theory that a huge number of modern health problems come not from genetic decline, but from a body built for one environment operating inside a completely different one. Metabolic regulation, immune function, even mood regulation show similar patterns, where consistent mild environmental challenge appears to be part of how these systems were designed to calibrate themselves, and consistent comfort quietly lets that calibration drift. So why does the assumption persist that ancient humans were simply biologically different from us, tougher by nature rather than by circumstance? Partly because it's a more comfortable story. If they were just built differently, there's nothing for you to do about your own reaction to cold. No meaningful comparison to make. But if the difference comes down to signal and adaptation rather than genetics, that's a considerably less comfortable conclusion, because it means the softness is a result of environment, not inheritance, and results of environment can generally be changed. This isn't really about ancient humans being tougher than you. It's about a body doing exactly what bodies are built to do, responding to whatever signal it consistently receives, and slowly letting go of whatever it stops needing. The Stone Age humans sleeping through a freezing night wasn't fighting the cold. Their body had simply never been given a reason to forget how to handle it.